Good morning and welcome to the Board of Education's Operating Budget Work Session. Today we will begin the review of the Superintendent's FY 2022 Operating Budget Request. The order of review is reflected in the agenda. Staff will provide an overview of the Superintendent's recommended operating budget, followed by a review of the budget by chapter. Our second work session will be held on Thursday, January the 21st, 2021, and our final work session will be held on Monday, January the 25th, both beginning at 10 a.m., and will include a review of the remaining chapters of the Superintendent's operating budget. I would like to remind everyone that the board is scheduled to take tentative action on the operating budget at our board meeting on Tuesday, February the 23rd, 2021. As we go through the budget chapters, I urge staff to point out pertinent issues that may be of concern to the board. As always, board members are free to ask questions at any point during the presentations and request staff to provide information on specific issues. Dr. Smith, do you have any comments or issues you want to bring before the board?
I will just start the presentation if you're ready to start the presentation at this point, or I will and start it when you're ready.
Before we do that, do any board members have any comments before we begin? Okay, seeing none, we will proceed with the review. Dr. Smith.
Thank you, Ms. Wolf, and good morning to you and all of the members of the board and all of the staff members I've not yet seen this morning, although I've seen most of you that I see on the screen already this morning, once or twice even. It's exciting and anxiety producing to be talking about the FY22 budget. It's exciting because it's a new year and there is some hope and promise on the horizon as vaccines are becoming available and as the opportunity for us to really push back as a society and as a nation against COVID-19 is growing more possible with the vaccines and with the herd immunity, as it's referred to by the medical professionals. But we're not there yet. And certainly with this budget, we have still more questions than we have answers for you today. So you're going to hear lots of times, we don't know, or we want to do that, but it will depend on the funding. Never, ever has there been a time when the funding has been more uncertain than it is right now. And if you think back, and you were in Maryland, I was not, but I've heard tell of it many times, in the early 1990s when the state shifted the obligation of Social Security payments to school systems, there were massive budget challenges. If you think back to the turn of the century, about 20 years ago, there was a downturn in the economy and there were budget challenges, and I was building budgets at that time. And then certainly the Great Recession. All of those pale in comparison when you think of the upheaval there is in the economic systems for the private sector and for the governmental sector in this current circumstance we're in. So we have new information that we were adding up through last night and this morning to this budget presentation, especially on the revenue side. And we're also continuing to solidify our staffing and other programmatic areas as we can speak with more confidence about what the coming year will look like fiscally for the school system. But we don't know yet any solid information on the revenues. We just have possibilities and projections and predictions at this point. And so as we look to next Wednesday when the governor's budget will come out, as we look to the federal legislation that will produce funding for public education across the country, and as we look to our General Assembly to make decisions about the Kerwin legislation and the funding we've been receiving last year and this year under that legislation, and certainly as we look to our county government and what they will be able to do to support the school system in this time of incredible disruption for students and families and the educational process. Our first budget hearing on Monday night, there were some themes that I know you all heard and you take note of. These themes are completely consistent with what we've heard from our our stakeholders, our community advocates, our community representatives, our county PTA, from our board members back in the fall when we talked about priorities and themes for the coming year. And certainly they came through on Monday night. And I just want to reiterate some of those themes. We heard that we have to respond to the physical, social, and psychological well-being of our students, not only as we go through this circumstance we're in now, but as they return to the physical building after many months away from physical buildings. And hopefully that will happen starting March 15th in a systematic and methodical way. They will not come back to the same school experience they left. And for many of them, our youngest learners, they've not been in the school experience pre-COVID, or they had very little time in the school experience. So that's going to require a lot of support. It's also going to require support for adults whose families and lives have been impacted by this circumstance, whether they've been impacted profoundly, economically, financially, and physically, in their health, whatever it is. We're going to have the capacity and the resources to make sure the adult learning is what it needs to be, the support for adults so they can support children well, and then the resources across all schools, all neighborhoods, all communities for that physical, social, psychological well-being of our students as they continue to go through these changes. We're also going to have the resources to focus on their academic disruption. And people are talking a lot about learning loss these days. We're very concerned about the disruption in the reading process, in the mathematical process, in the writing process for our youngest learners. We're very concerned about it for our middle learners and their experiences as they grow toward older adolescence and the high school experience. And we're very concerned about it for our high school students as they are getting ready for that next big step in life beyond high school as 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders this year. I'd also like to call your attention, though, to the idea that this year's first graders will be entering 4th grade in 2 years. And the question will really be, when they enter 4th grade, have we been successful during 2nd and 3rd grade at mitigating the impact of this disruption? That's really the question, because it's not that students can't learn, it's that can we do our work in such a way that we will mitigate this disruption by the time next year passes and the year after, as we expect to go back into physical school buildings in a very typical way next fall. We hope that is what is true. We think there are good indications that's what will happen, as we plan for a phased-in return and hopefully a much more full return by later in the spring of students to schools. We do have half or more of our families who've said they would like to remain digital, and we have to pay attention to that and make sure the digital experience is strong and robust. And we know that we'll have students and families who need digital learning well beyond this year because of their life circumstances, health circumstances, because they're immune compromised, because they cannot be out in the general population in any significant way or at all based on their own health and circumstances in life. And so we have to be well prepared for that. And we also have to pay particular focus on our highest poverty schools. We know the students in those schools will feel the most significant disruption and have felt it as they have depended on us for meals. Montgomery County Public Schools has served almost 8 million meals at this point to our students as we continue the breakfast and lunch options that we've provided over time, and as we continue to make that available across our community. So we have to have particular focus, and oftentimes we call those community schools or poverty impacted schools, but the fact is there has to be a shift in the way we do our work and the way we think about that. And as the revenues become clear next Wednesday with the governor's budget, with the rollout and paperwork around the federal legislation, and with the county government and the General Assembly's work, then we'll know better the degree to which we can do this work with those revenues. That's what we'll know. And those are the questions we'll be able to answer in an ongoing way with the Board of Education and with our community. And so it's a very strange world we live in. It's a very stressful world that we all live in. And I would have to say that while this has been anxiety producing and difficult for my family and me, we've been incredibly blessed also in terms of our circumstances. So I understand that it's difficult for everyone. It's difficult to different degrees and in different ways for everyone. So we will walk through this budget today, and we will answer the questions we can. We will make sure we take note of all of the questions and get the information to the board, and we will listen closely to board members' comments, suggestions, ways of thinking about this. But please know that, and I know the board knows this, but please know we are listening closely to our community, to the organizations and advocates in our community, to the governmental officials as they work with us on these issues. And we believe we can come through this united together for our future. We really do in the next few months. And it will require that we work together, that we push and challenge one another appropriately, but that at the end of the day, we have a common purpose and a common goal of making sure that our students are well taken care of, that we're paying attention to their well-being, and we are ensuring that they are getting the academic learning and support that they need. So I will turn it over to Mr. Morella now, and he will walk us through some numbers, and then I will come back in at different points, as well as several other staff members. So Mr. Morella, if we could bring up the slideshow, please, then we will begin this presentation.
Thank you very much, Dr. Smith, and good morning, everybody. Board of Education members. It's an honor to be here today. I'm very excited to go through the slides with you guys. I'm going to take the very first few slides, and then we're going to have staff from individuals who work within the Chapter 1 confines to present some of the more granular details of this budget request. So the one thing I think, and Dr. Smith did a great job explaining this, is this budget request is a snapshot in time. This is what we know as of this morning. We know this is going to change. And we built our budget knowing that going in that we would have several iterations of this budget until it's finally passed by the county council. So if you look at page 2 of the slide deck. Next slide, please. What you'll see here is at the highest level, what our operating budget looks like compared to fiscal year 2021. Our request now is for $2,713 million, which is a reduction of about $43 million or 1.5% below our fiscal year 21 operating budget. We get to this point based on our current projected revenues reducing by about $84 million. And we'll get into some more details about why we believe there's a potential for a reduction in revenue in slides moving forward. But in addition, that negative potential of revenue, we're hoping to have offset by an increase above our maintenance of effort by about $40 million at the county level. So the net between the two is that $43 million reduction I just described, or 1.5%. And we'll get into more details as we move forward, how we came up with these numbers. Next slide, please. So these are the potential stressors against our revenue. And this is based on a number of factors, current law, some of the state aid, and some of the revenue that is not currently passed by state legislation or funded. So the local maintenance of effort, that is strictly driven locally by our enrollment. We'll talk about enrollment in a moment, but our enrollment, as everybody knows, has reduced this fiscal year fairly significantly. We're going to discuss how we're factoring in some return to school enrollment in the future, and how we're offsetting that with potential requests locally to increase the MOE. The state aid is also related to enrollment, but it also has a relative wealth factor involved too. So we expect to get our state aid numbers next Wednesday, the 20th of January, at which point we'll have a much better idea of where we're sitting moving forward. And then, as everybody knows, the Governor Hogan vetoed the blueprint for Maryland's future legislation last year. That provided in fiscal year 21, $27 million. And for us to get that restored, it's going to take action by state legislature, in addition to funding from the state legislature and government to continue the Kerwin work and funding. So what I would also add here, though, is if we do get increased revenue at the state or local level, we do have concerns that there'll be offsets against each other. So if we were to receive a significant amount of resources from the Fed, which is possible now, we're afraid that some of the expected resources we would have received before this federal legislation could be offset potentially by this increase in federal dollars. So that's something we're tracking very, very closely, watching daily, and reaching out to our counterparts throughout the state to get a better idea of where these revenue numbers are going to land in the next several months. This next slide actually is our most recent slide, and this is what we came up with very, very recently yesterday, because we have been talking since day one about these pressures on our revenue, and they still exist. They're not mitigated yet, but there is some hope. And the hope is on this chart here, where we have the green arrow going up. The federal legislature that was recently passed, and Dr. Smith spoke of just a moment ago, could potentially provide MCPS with upwards of $100 million in federal funds that we would receive in fiscal year 22 and have available at least through the end of fiscal year 23, we believe. We believe it's at least 2-year money, but we don't have anything definite. Nothing has been written that we have seen. And like I said, we're concerned if we do receive these resources, there's potential offsets elsewhere where we receive our funding and there's pressures such as the local funding. The hold harmless. This is where we've heard discussions at both state and local levels that there's a potential or there's a possibility that our 1-year blip reduction in enrollment will not be held against us, and that we would be funded at a prior year or average prior year to 2021 enrollment amount. And then above the MOE, our budget, we're going in requesting $40 million above what our minimum MOE is for the local. That is something that if we were not going forward with that $40 million, our deficit would be closer to $83 million based on early estimates. So the enrollment, just to get into it at a macro level, and we have people on the call here who have done a lot of these estimates for the enrollment going forward and the return of students. But our official enrollment.
Mr. Morella?
Yes, sir.
This is Jack Smith. I just wanted to reiterate and reemphasize what you just said. We have seen nothing in writing about the federal legislation. There are a lot of people analyzing that legislation out there in the society, and they're writing things. And so we're reading that, we're analyzing it, we're looking to see if their analysis makes sense. Until we get something in writing, we won't really know exactly how it all fits together. I think all of us remember very well what happened last year with the CARES money and all the different projections and predictions last March and April and May. And finally, it all got settled out and everyone understood what was available and what it could be used for. And then same with the hold harmless on enrollment. We don't know if the governor will do anything in his budget. We also don't know if the General Assembly will do anything for that. And our request above MOE is my recommendation to you based on all of my work with the staff and the community. And of course, the board can change that recommendation before this budget becomes yours during this process in January and February. And so as you look at this, you can make decisions about how you want to move forward. And then I will bring to you ongoing information and recommendations about adjustments that we can make as the information becomes more clear. And so I'll turn it back to Mr. Morella now. I just want to make sure that that was a clear message to the board that we don't have anything in writing or any guarantees of the first two. And the third one really will come down to how the board would like to proceed with your recommendation to the county executive for his budget, which will then go to the county council for consideration and vote. So Mr. Morella, I'll turn it back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Smith. Yeah, and this slide, like I said, is this is where we're holding out some hope that things aren't going to be as rough as we initially estimated. So just to get into a very high level discussion of the enrollment, our official enrollment for the 2022 budget formulation is a reduction between September 2020 and September 2019 of about 3,600 students or so. And that does not include our pre-K students. So our assumption going in here, and this is how we came up with the $40 million above MOE, is that between 1,500 and 2,000 of these 3,600 will return during school year 2022. If we were to look at enrollment, including pre-K, we're estimated that we have lost about 5,000 students this school year, and that will return about 2,500 to 3,000 of those students during 2022. And that's the basis for our MOE locally, and it's a large factor in our state aid. So a lot of those numbers are based on factors such as parents doing homeschooling, parents taking their kids and putting them in private schools, parents moving out of Montgomery County or the state, parents having their students live with relatives elsewhere in the country where there's live in-person learning right now. And we have a list, or our demographer and staff have a list of all these codes of why students have left the school system. So those kinds of specifics we'll be able to address based on questions that you may have. But once again, this is how we come up with our $40 million above MOE based on these enrollments that we have projected. So next slide, please. So we just spoke about the K-12 enrollment and the relationship that is with direct relationship that is with funding. Now with the blueprint for Maryland's future, we received $27 million in fiscal year 2021 to fulfill a lot of the requirements of the blueprint or Kerwin legislation. That legislation was vetoed by the governor last legislative session. And there's talk, we don't know, if it possibly being reintroduced in our upcoming session or the session that just started last week. If that were to occur, they would still, legislation and governor would have to come up with a methodology to fund. So we're not sure if legislation will be passed to restore the blueprint. And if it is restored, we don't know at what funding level we would receive resources for the blueprint grant state legislation. Healthcare costs, very interesting. We've gone through a lot of work recently regarding our healthcare premiums, rates, fund balances. And we work very closely with a company, it's named Aon, and there are actuaries to do a lot of the estimating for claims experience, both this year and moving forward. And that's based on previous year experience we've received. Very interesting that during the COVID of this year, health claims did not rise as much as projected and anticipated before the COVID. And after a lot of analysis, it was determined the reason for that is a lot of the non-critical healthcare was not received by members of the MCPS and in the public in general. People didn't go have optional surgeries or optional appointments this year because they wanted to remain in their homes and safe. Right now, our Aon is telling us that will start back up as soon as COVID gets controlled better. So right now we anticipate our health claims experience to increase significantly during fiscal year 2022. And the result of that will directly be a reduction in the fund balance that we carry to pay for these health claims. So we are facing the issue of having increased health experience, increased claims, and a balance that will be very close to meeting our needs. In fact, we're going to reduce that balance during fiscal year 22 to a level where we'll be fairly comfortable. But if we have experience above what we're projecting, our balance will reduce down to the beginning to be uncomfortable levels. So we're watching that very closely, meeting with the actuaries regularly, and we're examining monthly claims experience to make sure that we are on the right path. And if we need to adjust any of these projections moving forward, we will. Virtual learning, continued virtual learning. Like Dr. Smith mentioned earlier in his comments, virtual learning is not going away. We believe that even when we're back live full-time with students, there's going to be a component of families or a group of families within MCPS who want to have their students home learning remotely. In doing that, we're going to need to have run dual type programs. We're going to have go back to our live, whatever that will look like, our live teaching and learning, but we're also going to have that remote component. And that's going to increase the cost of providing education, we believe. We think that we're going to have, we know we're going to have staff perform both of those duties, and that we don't know what the impact right now will be because we're not sure of what students, families will want to keep home indefinitely, but we know that the cost of providing education both remotely and in person will exceed what we've historically paid for education for in-person only. Well-being is something that I know Dr. Smith had mentioned, and everybody at MCPS is very, very concerned about, not just for the students, although the students are critical here, but we're also concerned about the adults. You know, the negative impacts of COVID-19 did not exclusively impact students. It impacted our employees, it impacted the families, it impacted everybody on this call right here. So we know that there's going to be a push forward, but this need to have these additional wellness type supports are going to continue indefinitely. And we also know that the additional support, the tutoring, the after school learning, the weekend learning, we also know that that is not going to shut down as soon as we go back to live in-person learning, whenever that is. This is going to be an ongoing multiple year, like Dr. Smith said earlier, we're going to have to make sure that all kids catch up if there is learning loss. And a great indicator is what he mentioned about, you know, reading going into fourth grade, mathematical skills going into fourth grade. And I think we'll know better at that point how successful we have been in providing these additional tutoring supports. But we do know once school goes back live, these tutoring needs don't go away. It's going to take significant effort moving forward to ensure that all of our students are where they should be in their educational experience moving forward. So, planning for the future. A lot of this slide is semi-repetitive, but going down the bullets, once again, we're saying the mental health and wellness, that's something that's going to have to happen for all who need that support. And we're here to provide that support for everybody so that everybody can be successful moving forward. The struggling learners, that goes back to the tutoring I just mentioned. And we do know that's going to be long-term. Like I said, we'll have to probably run, or we will definitely have to run dual programs with the virtual and the in-live teaching as we move forward. We will have to increase our broadening of the efforts and supports we provide for the most impacted schools. Everything we see now is that the most impacted schools are generally the impacted schools previously, the students in those schools now are the ones who are suffering from the worst learning loss. So that's something we're keeping an eye on, and we know that we're going to have to continue to make that a priority going forward. And then maintaining our staff and operations. Dr. Smith likes to call this keeping the heart and soul of MCPS together. And I know that he has said this many times, and I've heard it many times, and I've said it, but to keep the heart and soul of the MCPS together, we need to retain all the staff we have. We need, our needs don't go down in the future because we have fewer enrolled students for the short term. Our needs go up. We have to continue we will have to continue a broader range of services and learning opportunities for our students going forward. So the key here for us to remain successful and create opportunities for everybody is to keep the heart and soul of our school system together. And that's you and me, that's the 24,000 employees who work at MCPS. So before I get to the calendar, does anybody have any comments they want to make?
Does anybody have any questions? Ms. Harris?
Yeah, I apologize if I got confused. So Dan, at one point when you were talking about enrollment numbers and our drop, I thought at first you said we were looking at about a 3,600 student decline from September 19 to September 20, September 2019 to September 2020. And then I thought you said something about 5,000 students lost.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I will interrupt there, Dan.
I'm sorry. The number is from 2021 to 2020. That's the loss. And the 5,000, it's the 3,600 K to 12 students plus our preschool students. Preschool students aren't funded on an MOE basis. But if you look at the full group of students we serve and include the pre-K, that's the 5,000 number.
So Dan, I'd like to add to that. The maintenance of effort loss, Ms. Harris, is significant, as Dan just said, from September 30 to September 30. Right now, pre-K through 12, we're at about 5,390 students down from last year. But as Dan referenced earlier, we have our demographer and our planning director in the audience today because they have done considerable work with our schools office and our research office to analyze where the students went and the potential for them to return to us. And we expect 2,500 to 3,000 pre-K through 12 students to come back to the physical building next September. So if, let's say, 3,200 come back and we lose a net of 5,200, that means a net loss of 2,000. Well, people say, well, losing 2,000 students, that's a big deal. You ought to be able to cut millions from your budget. The fact is, that's an average of 20 students, not even 20 students per school, not even 10 students per school of 208 schools. So you see, we're not really going to stop having a second grade class or not have, a section of 10th grade English or those sorts of things. So 2,000 students is a lot, but it will not have an effect on our overall needs or operations. And one of the things I think we all ought to be ready to say back is we may have slightly fewer students next year. We're going to have tremendous more needs for the students we have. And so I really wanted to stress that point about the number of students because people are grabbing onto that, and some of the people out there who very much want to see a different way of funding education and different methods around vouchers and things like that are saying, well, just give me the money and I'll go educate my children elsewhere. And that's just simply not the case when you look at the actual numbers and what could happen.
Yeah, Dr. Smith, if you don't mind, I think that's what you said right now is critical. We're not shutting down a 2,000 student school. We're cutting around the edges on 200 schools. And like you said, if a teacher teaches 20 students, that's a half a teacher less, but with the increased needs, the high level math doesn't follow what one would anticipate initially. So next slide, please.
Wait a minute, Dan. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, Miss O'Neill.
Yes, my question is sort of on the fringes of federal funding. And we heard a speaker the other night speak about Title I funding and parents maybe not filling out free or reduced meal forms. And what will happen, I mean, I know the rates are set by the feds, but about our designation of Title I schools or our focus schools, do we know?
That's a great point, Ms. O'Neill. And so what we understand so far from all the analysis that has been done at the federal level is the new federal funding while they will use Title I numbers from last year to determine the levels of funding across Maryland and across all of the states, it will not be tied to Title I specifically. And so we shouldn't see any reduction either in real Title I or in the use of Title I for the federal legislation. It does appear that the federal government, the Congress, has figured out that right now with the disruption going on, it's very hard to be rigid around the numbers with Title I. And so what they seem to be doing is holding us harmless with Title I and then using the levels of poverty that have existed as a driver for the distribution of funds, but not restricting the funds in ways that we can't spend it on students who need it, who are in poverty in a 10% poverty school just because they're not in a Title I school. So I think that's all good news for us going forward.
Are there any other questions? Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Morella.
Thank you, Ms. Wolf. The next slide here, next slide, please, is something that we have shown you before, but I just want to reiterate, these are the key dates coming up between now and when our budget is passed and appropriated for the July 1 school year. The 13th, the General Assembly session began yesterday. The governor is going to release his recommended state operating budget next Wednesday on the 20th. The January to 15th to 31st, that's just an estimate. That's when we're expecting to get some better indication of what exactly we're going to receive from the feds and what those resources, if they are limited, and we believe they will be limited to some extent on how we can spend them, what those limitations or restrictions will be moving forward, such as the CARES grant money was restricted for certain opportunities. We anticipate some of that same restrictions for this new money moving forward. And this new act is called the CRRSA, so it's something else we need to just get used to within our vernacular here. In February, we're expecting to hear more about the blueprint for Maryland's future, the Kerwin grant, and then we're going to hear more if the state or locals are going to potentially hold harmless or expecting the first real information about the hold harmless and or changing what the enrollment assessment or enrollment component of the formulas for funding will be. February 23rd is when the Board of Education will tentatively adopt the budget. Mid-March, County Executive Ehrlich will release his recommended budget. County Council will take their action in late May. And then in June 10th is the expected date where the Board of Education will go ahead and adopt our final fiscal year 2022 operating budget. So you can see there's a lot to do in the next few months, a lot of questions to be answered. Thus, why I said when I first started that this is our snapshot. Any one of these dates or any one of these factors we've discussed the last several minutes could play a major or minor role in what we recommend for the final budget for MCPS Board of Education to move forward with. So I appreciate your time very, very much. We have people now, OTLS staff and staff from the Office of Operations available to present and answer your questions moving forward. So if there's no questions right now, I'm going to hand this over to Janet Wilson for her presentation. And thank you very much for your time.
Are there any questions? Okay, thank you. Oh, hold on, Ms. Sylvester.
Mr. Morella, you mentioned healthcare, that we did not use as much of that fund because of people staying home and not getting their procedures done. But we did raise premiums.
Correct.
So doesn't that put us in a good place for the upcoming year, given that you said we expect people to start doing their procedures then?
What it is, Ms. Silvestri, that's more of a timing issue. We had anticipated a lot more services during fiscal year 20. 20 and 21, I'm sorry, in fiscal year 21. What this does is pushes a lot of those procedures into fiscal year 22. And what we pay claims with is a fund balance. Our projections of that fund balance without the increase in premiums was we would not be able to afford all of the anticipated regular health claims experience, plus the catch up from the COVID, the people who did not have those services. So if you look at it over time and not just a 1-year snapshot, we know there's additional costs going to be coming in, additional claims experience this for fiscal 21 and 22. And without the rate increase, our fund balance wouldn't have been able to cover all those additional claims from the healthcare providers. So if you look at it over a 2 or 3 year period, we need to have ample and sufficient fund balance to pay all of those claims.
Ms. Silvestri, though, you do make the point, and it is accurate, that it does put us in a much better position as we go into FY22 to make sure that we can pay those claims and not have a spike for our staff members mid-year, which is always what we want to avoid. We don't want to have to go back to them and say, you know, we don't have enough money to run the healthcare program this year, so we're gonna have to raise rates in the middle of a year. And that's the goal, is to avoid that. And so what we endeavor to do is stay about 5% reserve on our healthcare fund, so that at any given time we have somewhere between 20 and $30 million in reserve, so that if we do see steep healthcare increases like we've seen, you know, in the last decade and in prior times in recent history, that we don't ever have to go back to employees and say we've got to increase rates during the year. And that healthcare fund has been healthy, and we've stayed in a good point. I've made the point with the board before. When I came, it was $4 million overdrawn, and now we're at that or above that 5%, and we want to stay at that 5% of the costs, and it's about $500 million a year. So 5% of that is about $25 million that we need to maintain at the minimum in that account.
Yeah, and if you don't mind me adding, with this rate increase and our projected use of healthcare providers and claims experience, in the short term, we were able to offer the holiday, the premium holiday this month, so that while the premiums in total over time went up, we were able to provide 2 pay periods of premium holiday in January of this year. Comfortably do that so that our fund balance is where we want it to be.
Are there any other questions? Okay, go ahead, Ms. Wilson.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wolf, and good morning, board members. If we could have the next slide, please. So what you have before you is a pie chart that shows the supports that we give directly to our schools. And as you can see, a majority of that is in salaries and wages at 96%. The Chapter 1 overall has been reduced by $51.8 million, impacting the one-time costs of such things as summer school, training for teachers, tutoring, and IT equipment. As the revenue picture becomes clearer for FY22, as Dr. Smith and Mr. Morella outlined, we can consider adding back funding to those programs. Pending a clearer picture of this funding as the calendar winds forward, what you have here is the current proposed allocations. And again, 96% is the staff that supports our students in our school for their teaching and learning at $1.06 billion. The remainder is in contractual services at 1% for special education, or excuse me, special programs and services such as that you see there on the screen, additional supports for students, our CREA programs, our equal opportunity schools, and these are just examples of each category. Also in contracted services, we have our data management tool where we house student assessment data to help with our instructional decision making, athletic trainers, and also our school funds accounts that go into this budget. Also, we have supplies and materials that also support our students and our schools. We have also an other category, which includes our athletics, the expenditures that we make on behalf of out-of-county tuition, and also juvenile services. Travel is also included in this, as well as our support of our commencement facilities. And finally, we have equipment at a $1.12 million. This chapter, as we go on, will also include budget information regarding alternative programs, ESOL, pre-K, Head Start, and Title I, as well as special education. At this time, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Ms. Cheryl Dyson, who will share information about the staffing levels that are projected for our schools and adjustments based on our enrollment growth. Ms. Dyson?
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. Good morning, members of the board, Dr. Smith and Dr. McKnight. Next slide, please. So this slide represents the total full-time employees in schools. These positions are not just classroom teacher positions, but they're reading initiative positions, art, music, and PE teachers, and staff development teachers. The top box reflects all positions in elementary, middle, and high school. And the lighter blue boxes provide a breakdown of positions by school level. You will note in the gray box, there are positions not included in the K-12 positions, but are budgeted for in FY22. Those include the ESOL teachers, ESOL paraeducators, food services, and building service positions. Special education positions are not included here, but will be discussed later in this presentation. Next slide. Thank you. This chart reflects changes due to enrollment growth only and does not include any new school additions. Enrollment growth is reflected as additional positions or a reduction in positions. The reductions are noted in parentheses. It's important to note that the addition or reduction of position do impact funding for substitute teacher, media supplies and materials, instructional materials, and textbooks. So let's just walk through this chart. For elementary school, we see that there is a reduction of 36.8 teachers, a reduction of 1.0 media specialist, a reduction of 0.5 media assistant, and a reduction of 4.0 positions for paraeducator. At the middle school level, there's a reduction of an assistant school administrator and a 1.0 secretary, and the addition of 2 assistant principal positions, 4 teacher positions, 2.5 counselors, 0.125 or 1 hour media assistant position, and the addition of 1.0 lunch hour aide position. At the high school level, we see a reduction of an assistant school administrator position and the addition of 2 security positions, 33.1 teacher positions, 3 counselor positions, a 0.5 paraeducator position, 4.5 secretary positions, and a 0.25 or 2 hours of English composition assistant position. And just 2 final notes, as we think about the staffing process and enrollment shifts, staffing guidelines are reviewed and they are applied for all positions yearly. All of these positions are provided in the budget book. And finally, equally important is the engagement of several offices and a school-by-school analysis throughout the staffing process to really unpack and understand the specific needs of each school. So now I'll turn it over to Dr. Smith for the next slide.
Next slide, please. So let's go back and think about last March 27th. Ms. Evans, who was president at the time, and I met with the county council in the second week of the 2-week emergency closure. I know, Ms. Evans, you remember that day well. And essentially on that day, they told us they were moving to a same services budget, or we would be held at maintenance of effort for that. We also knew at that time the General Assembly was swinging into action around what they saw as the coming financial crisis, and they were looking at how to adjust the Kerwin legislation so that it had safeguards in it in funding so that they wouldn't overpromise in the future when they couldn't deliver. And so that was going on, and we know that the unemployment rolls were going up weekly. There was just a lot of chaos. And at that time, we came together as a board, we came together with our associations and our stakeholders in the community, and we said there are some things that we have to do that are critically important. We have to, first and foremost, launch a digital platform in the next couple of weeks, and we did, as it became clear that we wouldn't come back to school, and the multiple times that was delayed or moved out until finally the state superintendent said it would be through the rest of the school year. So we have to get a digital platform built. We have to make sure that we provide adults with the learning that they need now and in the coming year. We have to build out that digital platform so it's really robust, and we have to get everyone the tools and connectivity devices that they need. And we also need to support our students through massive summer school, which we did plan and execute, through tutoring, through Saturday programs and special programs that we continue to add right up to this day. And we heard about on Tuesday at the board meeting with the beginning of the Saturday advanced placement and international baccalaureate supports that are coming in the next few weeks and that will be here. So building out all this stuff. So we realigned about 100 positions in the budget. And so we're going to realign those back. So we took the money in those areas, kept and we started a vast meal service, technology delivery and distribution service. We started all sorts of other services that are kind of under the radar in the county. People know about them, but they just happen regularly every day. But we had to pull money from a lot of places. We did about 100 positions, and 66.7 of those were teacher positions. And now we need to move that money. We need to deconstruct the recovery of learning pot of money that was mostly in Chapter 1 and move it back into the regular budget lines where it belongs in the coming budget year. And we also know we have a new elementary school that will be opening in 2023, which means that about a year from right now, a principal will be named for that position. So that's a half a year of a principal and a half a year of administrative support for that person. And those things need to be recognized in this budget. So of that 100 positions, 66.7% of them sit right here. The others are in other chapters because they were administrative and support positions. And then if we can go to the next slide. We also know we had changes in the grants. And so we're going to have to think, this is precautionary right here. If the blueprint for Maryland's future, Kerwin, does not get reauthorized and the money is not replaced, then we're going to need to assume a lot of costs in our regular operating budget. And some of them are around the grant and how we do those things moving forward. So we'll need to have the ability to move those back into this budget out of the recovery of learning area, and we'll need to pay for them in Chapter 1. And so that's a kind of wait and see circumstance right here, is if Blueprint is fully funded and we move forward, even just funded at the level it was funded last year and this year, then we won't have to do this shift. So we'll know that in the coming weeks as the General Assembly gets fully underway and the governor's budget, the General Assembly discussions take place. But that's why that's here for right now. We'll see what happens in the future. And then finally, next slide, please. We need to just take the rest of the money. And as Dr. Wilson said, it came from a lot of different places in the system, but we pulled it all together to have it and to be able to use it. And we've literally bought huge amounts of technology, connectivity devices, instructional devices that support teachers like the document cameras and other kinds of devices that help. We've offered tremendous amounts of training across the system, and we've offered tremendous numbers of opportunities. Last summer alone, this school system offered over 80,000 slots in summer programs and served around 40,000 students. And we don't even know the full extent of it because lots of them were supported at the local school. And so we don't know the total number, but just working with the local school programs and the centralized programs, we know that we served in the range of 40,000 students last summer, whereas the summer before that, we'd served about 12,000. And so we need to keep that up. We need to add that money back into this budget as it becomes clear, or shift our priorities so that we're making sure that next year we do have that tremendous level of support for the academic needs and the well-being needs of our students, whether it's on Saturday, after school, or during the regular school day. And so all of these things are moving around in the budget right now, and the FY22 budget will look much more like a traditional MCPS budget than the emergency budget of last May, when the board, was working weekly, March, April, and May, to put it together. And I will remind everyone that we left our budget as it was structured, with the request for maintenance of effort and over maintenance of effort funding, until the county government told us no, they weren't going to do that at the end of May. And then the board came back together and said, okay, we're spending all of this money on these priorities of keeping the body and soul of the school system, the heart and soul of the school system, together. And now it's being moved back so that we can see it more clearly, so that we know it's being used. But we'll need to pay attention to these things in the next two work sessions, as well as the 2 February board meetings, to show clearly where the money is going to be put back as we go through it. So let's stop there and take the slideshow down and see if there are questions about this, or board members have comments, as they, all the board members here except Ms. Harris, who just joined, were deeply involved in that process.
Does anybody have any questions? Okay, I'm seeing none. Dr. Smith, you can continue. Sorry.
Thank you, Ms. Wolf. So we will continue on, and we're now going to turn it over to Mr. Koutsos. Mr. Koutsos.
Thank you so much, Dr. Smith. Good morning to our Board of Education members. I'm here to share information with you about our FY22 alternative programs budget. And as Dr. Wilson shared previously, in looking at our K through 12 schools budget, you see a very similar graphic describing the funding for our alternative programs. 97% of this funding goes to support the leaders, the teachers, the staff that are supporting student learning at our alternative programs. We also have additional funding at about 1% for contractual services, the monies that are there to maintain and take care of our equipment budget that's there, copier lease maintenance. We also have about a 2% budget for supplies and materials. And I would like to share that 90% of that particular funding goes to support instructional materials, textbooks, media materials that support learning for our students in alternative programs. And then there's additional funding, a very small amount, 1% each, for local travel, student transportation, and other equipment at those facilities. It is important to note, as I close out on this particular slide, that although we are projecting a very small decrease in enrollment, there's no change being made to the funding for alternative programs going forward. So at this time, what I'd like to do is turn it over to Ms. Nikki Hazel, Associate Superintendent for Curriculum and Instructional Programs. Ms. Hazel?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And if you could advance the slide, please. So I will speak very briefly about our English for speakers of other languages. And we have $64.6 million of this budget dedicated to those positions that support our students who receive ESOL services. And again, their primary role is to help build academic language for our ESOL students and help them access content at the grade level standard. Again, I just want to remind you that these positions are school-based and don't include our ESOL programming. So these are just teacher level positions in schools. So we have, we have 782 teacher positions that support ESOL. 716 of those positions are ESOL teacher positions, and 17 of those positions are ESOL resource teachers, and 49 are ESOL paraeducator positions. If you could advance the slide. So we are thinking about the growth, and as Mr. Morella said earlier, we are experiencing a decrease in enrollment for this school year. So as we thought about our growth numbers, we used the 2020, FY 2020 enrollment numbers to determine the growth for next school year. And so as a result, we're asking for 4.6 positions, or $264,700 to support the growth for ESOL services for students. And that is it. At this time, I will turn it over to Dr. Collins.
Hi. So in Chapter 1, $24.3 million is dedicated to staffing to support the pre-K, Head Start, and Title I budget. These positions include pre-K and Head Start teachers and paraeducators, as well as Title I funded focus teachers that provide additional support to schools in a variety of areas, such as literacy, mathematics, English language development, enrichment, and social emotional learning. Next slide, please. Also, in the Head Start program, we had an increase in grant revenue for this program to deliver services that are required by the grant. So the budget adds a 0.5 Head Start teacher to the program that focuses on supporting students with disabilities, again, which is required by the grant. There's also an increase of about $103,000 to align the salary account with the actual costs for the 11.7 Head Start teachers that are in the grant. And that is my section. I will hand it over to Mr. Louds to close out with special education funding.
Thank you, Dr. Collins, and good afternoon to President Wolf, Dr. Smith, and board members. It's an honor to be here today to present the special education budget. Similar to the K-12 overall budget, 96% of the budget in special education that's allocated to our schools is our teachers, paraeducators, and critical staffing and other positions that reside in the schools to support our students. We also have, unlike the other budgets, the special education budget is not only funded by the local budget, but it's funded by the IDEA budget, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. And so with that, we always make a projection as to how much we're going to get in with that grant. And sometimes we hit it right on the nose, and sometimes we have to make adjustments. And I'll talk a little bit later about how we had to make some adjustments for this budget. We also have contractual services. An example of that is nursing. We pay for nurses to go with our students that need nurses on field trips. And we also pay for students that come in and have some real health concerns for a nurse to be in the classroom throughout the day with them to support them in their learning. We also provide some extra supplies and materials to schools to allow our students that need something to help them access the curriculum and make the curriculum come alive, for the teachers to be able to have that. We also, so with the IDEA grant, and when we put positions on that, we cannot put the benefits on that. So we have to take the benefits and we have to put it on the local. And that's why you see, employee benefits being broken out when you look at the grants, and it has to be broken out from that. And the last bit is the equipment. And most of the equipment that we're talking about here is communicative equipment to help our students communicate during with their teachers, with their other students during the day when they need the technology to help them to do so. If we can go to the next slide, please. Okay, so for significant budget changes, I'm going to talk about the growth in positions that we're asking for next year. And I want to explain how it's a little bit different than our K-12, and the fact that when we look at growth and how to determine it, we look at it in three different ways. The first, we look at as the services provided. And so what staff members do we need when we're looking at the types of services that we have to provide for our students throughout Montgomery County Public Schools. The second, we look at overall enrollment in how many students we have. We look at articulation and who's articulating up to the next grade levels and what type of services they're going to need. And the last thing we looked at this year were trends, because our overall numbers are down as well. And so we wanted to look at trends to help us better prepare for next year when some of these students will return back to Montgomery County Public Schools. I just want to give you a few examples of these. The first one is the articulation. So over the last couple of years, I've come to the board and asked for more positions within our PEP program because we were growing at a large number of our PEP students. So those students are starting to articulate up. And so, for example, within our autism program, we're going to have 34 additional students next year in our elementary. And with those students will come the services that they need. And many of those students will need additional speech services. And that's why you see the addition of the speech pathologist in this budget, as well as increased teaching positions. The other is the current positions. So this budget is made very early on in September to get it prepared to come to today. And so we really are making our best estimate as to how many positions will be in each program. And so when we looked at our Learning for Independence program this year, what we found out was there was actually more growth than we anticipated. And so we had to add 6 teachers towards that program. And so we're going to keep those 6 teachers, but we had to add it to the budget book. And so when people, I know they do because they email me, look at the increase in each program, they'll see an increase in the Learning for Independence, but those teachers are currently there and we're just keeping them there for next year because we know the students are going to continue with us for next year. And the last is trends. And so we really had to look at trends this year much more than the past because our enrollment is down. And so when an example of that is for our PEP, our preschool program. When we look at our preschool program, we have grown consistently over the last 7 years. But this year we are down quite a bit compared to last year. And in looking at why we are down this year, there's a couple reasons. Number one, many more of our families are choosing to stay within the infants and toddlers program. They already know the service providers, they already know who they're working with, and so they chose to stay there instead of going and moving on into our PEP programs. The other big indicator that had a big impact on our enrollment really was our childcare providers. As you know, many of the childcare providers have either gone out of business or taking less students. And we get quite a few students and referrals every year from our childcare providers into our PEP programs for our 3- and 4-year-olds. And we don't see the referrals that we've seen in the past. And we do expect to see those referrals coming back when we go back into person. And so that's just an example of how we're using trends to help provide us information for the amount of staffing that we're going to need for next year. We will keep an eye on the trends and make sure that adjustments are made along the way. We know we're going to have to make some adjustments, and we will be prepared to do so. Next slide, please. So we also had some realignments. The first realignment is we took some contractual services money from Chapter 4 and we realigned it to use it for our critical staffing. One of the things that we're anticipating next year is students needing maybe some more services. And one of the ways that we are able to provide more help and support to school is by providing more critical staffing. So we have realigned some money to be able to provide that. The other is the grant changes, and Dr. Smith talked a little bit about the blueprint for Maryland's, the Kerwin funding. Currently, we have 75 positions in our schools that are funded with that Kerwin money. And so we know we're going to have to keep those teachers. And so we're looking at changing, if we don't get that money back, changing those 75 positions being funded from the Kerwin to our local. And the last two positions that are here under the grant change have to do with the IDEA grant that I spoke about earlier. You know, we did not get as much money in our IDEA grant as we anticipated last year when we were during this budget season. And so we had to change the funding from the IDEA grant back to our local. And that's those last two bullets are where we did that. Next slide, please. So at this point, we'd like to take some discussion as to the whole K-12 budget, all our different programs, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Does anybody have any questions? Ms. O'Neill.
I have the sun. So I want to say I'm pleased that there is a recognition that as we come back, there will need to be some more services and special education. I mean, I think that one of the tragic parts of this whole experience is, and we hear it from parents all the time, parents of special education students, you know, that Zoom or the virtual world really is not working well. And I mean, the services throughout the school year, the need for additional ESY, and I know that like speech pathology and you know, physical therapy is all dictated really by IEPs. But I mean, really, are we asking for enough? Are we contemplating that there will be much more intensive needs? I know you did speak to the recognition of need for more services, and I don't have a specific number, but it's just a feeling based on what we've heard.
So thank you very much, Ms. O'Neill. We are anticipating a need for helping our students get caught up when they come back. And one of the areas that we know we all have to look at, and many of our parents are asking about, is when they come back, we will have to determine whether there's been a loss specifically around their goals. We will have to provide some type of compensatory services to catch our students up. And we are being prepared to do that. And we have put some of that money in the budget to be able to do that.
Ms. O'Neill, we may well need to add more money, though, as our resources become more clear between now and the end of February, because this is going to be one of the most significant bodies of work as we work next year and the year after. You're absolutely right. So I wouldn't be surprised if the revenue picture is such that we can provide more money. We need to add that into this budget before the board sends their budget to the county executive, Mr. Elrich.
Okay, Ms. Evans.
Yep. Thank you. So mine was more comments, just appreciating at the start of the work session, Dr. Smith acknowledging that we know that our needs are great, but we will have to wait on the state and local levels to hear what will come about with their budgets, and just acknowledging that Ms. O'Neill had asked the question that I was going to ask in reference to Title I, but also stating, Dr. Lowndes said it, and I heard it in other presentations, that looking at the trends will help us to be able to figure out how we will have to reassess as we think about our enrollment numbers going back to, you know, close to what they were prior to the pandemic. So I just think that's really important for the community to hear, that we are that we're listening, like Dr. Smith said earlier. You heard comments at the operating budget hearing, and that we're all thinking about the same thing. So just wanted to acknowledge that, and just looking forward to our other work sessions next week where we can take a deeper dive. So thank you.
Okay, Ms. Mandrowski.
Yeah, thank you. So Ms. O'Neill basically just asked the question that I was going to ask. I just want to dig a little deeper in the, have we been looking at transferring funds or anything like that to help support the students even right now? Because we still get a lot of emails with students that are struggling, you know, from parents with students that are struggling. They need more supports. And, you know, it's just, I'd like to hope and pray that they'll be back at in-person learning. And I'm glad that we're putting additional funding in, but I'm really still concerned about the students right now.
Yes, absolutely, Ms. Modrowski. And the issue right now is less about funding. There are always funding issues, and more about access. And Mr. Lowndes and Dr. Wilson and the whole team are working together to find those opportunities right now as we approach March 15th, before March 15th, to provide appointment-based or event-based supports to families as we can get access to one another. This idea that we've all been in isolation is really what has been profoundly difficult for many of our children and adolescents who receive special supports and special services. But yes, that is happening. And yes, we do have the funding to do that. And now we're building systems of access like the special education assessments we started in December, and like the effort that's going to begin this week around registration of students for after-school activities and after-school sports. It's not bringing large groups in, it's not bringing students in for regular school activities, but it is bringing students in or finding ways to connect with them physically to do some of the work that just simply cannot be done through a computer screen. So
I really appreciate that. Like I said, I know that there are a lot of, I'm hopeful that at some point when we have it organized in such a way, we can notify our special education and our ESOL people and give them maybe more of a personalized understanding of the by appointments.
absolutely, and we'll be coming back to the board at the end of January or the first meeting in February, sharing additional ways that staff are creating these experiences for students and families. Thank you. Very important topic for all of us.
Ms. Harris.
Yes, thank you. And as Dr. Smith mentioned at the beginning, new guy, learning curve. So please feel free to answer my questions just by saying we'll cover that in a later session or later on in this session. But I did have two questions. And the first was looking at our ESOL services. And we went through very clearly the school-based services, and there was a mention of the programmatic services. So I'm asking, I didn't hear any mention of ESOL counselors, and I don't know if that's because they are in the programmatic staff. And the other question I had went to Mr. Lowndes talking about the somewhat tricky prediction of what our IDEA grant will look like year to year. But we were also talking about the fact that I think for a lot of our especially earliest, youngest special needs students, their learning loss and regression could be profound from this year, mentioning that hopefully the IDEA grant amounts will be cognizant of that, but how and when will we understand that better?
The critically important point that was brought up at our budget hearing, Ms. Harris, is the need for pupil personnel workers, parent community coordinators, ESOL, transition counselors, and psychological services. And all of that we will continue to talk about as we come through the rest of January and February, because that's another area that as our funding becomes clear, we'll want to go back and amend this budget. In fact, right before this meeting, I was meeting with staff and we were talking about these very topics and how we're going to have to build out our service models and our core of workers, because it's not only that we'll have virtually the same number of students, but the students will have significantly more needs based on this experience that we are going through and we have gone through. And so the ESOL folks will continue to look at that along with the whole Ms. Hazel in the instruction curriculum ESOL, and then I'll ask Mr. Lowndes to talk about where they are with the special ed topic.
So unfortunately, we don't get the number for the money from the federal government until towards the end of the budget process. And so that's why we always have to make adjustments the following year based on whether we get more or less money. I will say, kudos to Julie Hall and to the budget office. They are always very close as to the amount of money we're going to get. I mean, we've never had to make huge adjustments. And so, one or two people in my mind is not making a huge adjustment. And so, we got over this past year, around a little bit over $34 million. And so they were pretty close as to how they determined how much money we should put into the budget based on our IDEA grant. So once again, I just want to say, you know, Yvonne and Julie have done a fantastic job in trying to determine how to make that money work for us.
Thank you. Ms. Silvestri.
So along the same similar lines, but just to be crystal clear, when the Black and Brown Coalition asked in their testimony, where in the budget is the recovery money? What you're saying and what I'm hearing is that we're going to build that in as the budget outlook becomes more clear in the next month or two. Is that correct?
That's correct. In the next month. And our green arrow indicated our hope that it's going to be significantly better than we would have thought it to be back in December, which is why we have not rushed to make definitive statements or definitive answers about this, but those will have to be the priorities that we, as we reform this budget, redirect the recovery of learning funding and build toward the submission on March 1st. That those 4 areas, the disruption of learning for all students and their well-being, the pilot and focus on our most poverty impacted schools and their well-being, the digital platform and all the connectivity needs we need as a system to go forward and make sure that everything is working exactly as we need it to work. And then the academic supports across all schools, all students in every part of this county over the next 2 years, so that this disruption does not become a destiny, it just becomes a moment in time.
Are there any other questions? Okay, seeing none, I think we have come to the end for today. Our second work session will be held on January the 21st. I just want to thank everyone that presented today. Our task is monumental. I want to thank you for considering the needs of all of our students. And I, quite frankly, am overwhelmed looking at the emails we get. I know that there is a lot that we're going to have to address when the students return. Thank you, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you all very much.